And welcome back to the United Soccer Coaches podcast presented by Team Snap. Dean Linke with you, having a great show. Ian Barker with us, Nancy Feldman, star-studded show. And we're talking about United Soccer Coaches residential courses this summer and other courses as well. And you know what? You've got these courses. You got to have coaches attend them and talk about why they're attending them. And that's the purpose of our next guest, Timmy McCormack, who's now in his second year at Piedmont College, Division III down in Georgia. And Timmy, thanks for being on the program.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, love the fact that you're all in on the United Soccer Coaches, formerly NSCAA. First off, get us up to speed, Timmy, on all the courses you have taken with the now named United Soccer Coaches.
Well, I've been taking the courses of the United Soccer Coaches for a little over a decade now, and I've taken pretty much every course that could be offered all the way up to the Advanced National. I just finished that course this past spring. So I've been fairly experienced with all the courses in my time as a soccer coach, and especially in the last 10 years as a college coach. I'm very much actually looking forward to the next course that I'll be taking as well, which is the Advanced National Goalkeeping course over there in Cary, North Carolina this summer. So I've been fairly experienced with them and been taking them since they were in different names, and I'm really excited to be able to be a part of it.
Well, you've had some great success in your first season at Piedmont. You went 16-0-4, so not a single loss. Congratulations on that success. I love your background as well, as you're also in sports information and work for the athletic department. And talk about, though, how you feel that definitely you can relate to what you've learned with the United Soccer Coaches as the coach, perhaps even last year as part of your great season.
Yeah, I think the courses have really done a great job for me as a young coach, even growing up through the system. I think it gave me great structure to what I was trying to do. I think all of us as coaches who have played at a high level or gone through that type of career as a player will know a lot about the game. I think what the courses really do a good job of is giving young coaches a little bit of structure to what they're trying to do in their daily training sessions, as well as giving an overall view of what you're trying to accomplish through the season. I think the idea of putting a topic on your session and trying to kind of come to a final goal gives a little bit of direction to a lot of our young coaches in the country who are already very familiar with the game, but it gives them a little bit of an ability to kind of put everything in the right order.
You mentioned that you actually received a level of distinction on your last class. Tell us more about what that means, because that sounds pretty fantastic.
I actually was very excited about that. That's true. I passed a distinction on my last course, which was the Advanced National diploma this past spring. And you know, the courses, of course, have changed with all the curriculum changes that have gone on in the country in the last 5 to 10 years. And so this is the first course that I took where it was actually you were able to complete the final part of the session at your home base, where you take your own team and take care of the session that way. And I think that was probably one of the best changes that's been made in these courses in the last 10 years or so, is it gives you the ability to be able to do the session where you feel very comfortable in your own environment, working with your own players, and it allows for a greater sense of comfortability in the session, and it allows you to just coach. And I think that's what we all want to do, is just make it as simple as possible. We all know the game, and we all understand what we want to do, so it puts us in a situation where the comfortability goes to the level to where you can get done what you need to get done in the training session. So very excited about that. I think when I took my first course at the national level was back in 2008, and I always kind of thought to myself, if I ever get to that level where I'm passing with distinction, I think I've kind of reached a pretty good level of success in my career. So I think I have a long way to go still, probably, but it was a good success for me this spring, and I was really excited about that.
No, you should be. Well earned by you, and you're, obviously were recommended by Ian Barker and somebody we should talk to. So certainly they take a lot of pride in your work as well. And speaking of that, why should other young coaches that might be listening to this show do what you're doing? Because what I love about you is, you already said you're going in Cary, but you already said, you know what, there are a couple other courses that I plan to take over the next couple of winters. So you're already thinking 2-3 years ahead. I
think for me, and first as well, to kind of speak to what you said, I'm very honored to be recommended by Ian and Chelsea. I think anytime your peers recognize you and that you're trying to do what you need to do to make yourself a better coach, it's an honor for sure. So I'm very excited about that. I think for young coaches, probably the best piece of advice that I can give as far as why to take the courses is it gives you a lot of direction in what you want to do as a coach. I think for me, the reason I've tried to space the courses out and try to take them 1 to 3 years over the last 10, 12 years is it allows me to continuously get better as a coach and constantly reevaluate what I'm doing and asking myself if I'm doing the right things with our program, with our players. And I think if you're willing to do that and be open to the conversations that occur in these courses and maybe take a new direction with your program, you can maybe continue to raise your program to new heights and especially improve yourself as a coach as well too. I think the experience is something that's always undervalued. So getting out and actually doing the training sessions and doing the work in the field, of course, has to have its big value as well too. But the courses do a great job in giving a lot of those young coaches direction and giving them the ability to kind of communicate with their players more effectively, as well as, raise their programs to new heights.
So pleased to be joined by Timmy McCormack. He's the head coach of the Lady Lion soccer program for Piedmont College in Georgia, Division III, which if you listen to our show during the college season, we spent a lot of time talking D2 and D3 soccer as well. Timmy, going to put the pressure on you a little bit. The most memorable moments, maybe one or two in your coaching courses over the years with United Soccer coaches, maybe a coach that, did a field session with you, maybe somebody that you've formed a relationship with. Give me one or two great moments so far.
That is a lot of pressure. That's true. I can remember back to the first national course that I took was in 2008, and that was down in Florida. And I think it was the first time that I really stepped in that setting where I hadn't taken a regional course with usually a lot of coaches that I knew, and stepping into a course like that puts you way out of your comfort zone. And I think I was in the training set, or I was in the class with about 60 other coaches, and it made it a little bit something where I was kind of forced to grow and meet new people and kind of make a lot of connections that I still have today. And I think that's probably my biggest memory for United Soccer coaches as far as the course there is the idea of stepping into a situation where you're meeting with so many other coaches and learning so many different points of view. And I can remember how nervous I was at the beginning of that week. And by the end of the week, I can remember us hanging out together and, really kind of formulating relationships that have now lasted, so long in my professional career. So that has to be by far and away one of my best memories.
And what are you most looking forward to as part of the advanced goalkeeper session that you're going to take and carry this summer?
I think the biggest thing I would like to really kind of get out of that course is see what has changed since I've last taken a goalkeeping course. I think the last goalkeeping course I took was in 2011, I believe. So, that's 7 years or so difference, and just seeing if anything new out there or new ways to communicate things to our goalkeepers. I think that's such an undervalued part of our game, especially too is focusing on the goalkeeper. And I know the United Soccer coaches have always done a great job with that. So looking at that position for us, and we've been very successful defensively with a lot of shutouts over our time here at Piedmont College, and that has, obviously has a lot to do with our goalkeeper. So for us, learning new ways to communicate with them and making sure that we're training them the proper way and maybe kind of connecting with them in new ways where we can get them to a higher level.
Finally, tell us about your path, because, one of the things that we often try to do here is tell the assistant coaches to keep the faith. You'll get your opportunity to be a head coach, keep working at it. And here I look at your track, and last year you take over, and like you said, you put some pressure on yourself now because you played 20 games and didn't lose a single game. But talk about your track, and, I love the fact that you're also an associate athletic director, but did you ever think about maybe I'm not going to be a head coach, and tell us how you got to where you are now?
I think my path was an interesting one for sure, and just that I started coaching very young. I actually started coaching in my first year in college, where I assisted with the high school team that I had graduated from just the spring before. So I learned a lot in those early years of just the fact that I enjoyed coaching and connecting with kids in that way. And passing on the knowledge of the game that I had been lucky to receive from a lot of great coaches in my life. My club coach, Charlie Brightwell, was a great influence for me, and my brother, Danny, as well, was actually my first soccer coach. So learning a lot of those things and passing those on in the early years, and then realizing that was what I wanted to do with my career path, led me to a graduate assistant position here at Piedmont College. I worked for Jimmy Stevens, the men's soccer coach here, and then Stephen Andrew, the women's soccer coach. So I stepped over to the women's side, and I was there for 3 years, 2 years as a graduate assistant, and 2 years actually as well as a full-time. And I was also split my time with communications, as you mentioned. And then I stepped away from the women's side, went to the men's side to be a head coach at my alma mater, Huntington College. I was there for about a year and a half, and I got the call from Piedmont to come back as an administrator, as well as an assistant coach as well back on the women's side. And I think I welcomed that because it was a good chance for me to get back as well and learn on the administrative side, but also continue to work with great coaches that we had here in Stephen Andrew, who's now down at Valdosta State. And so I was there again as a 4-year assistant as well as an assistant athletic director. And then when Stephen left to Valdosta, our athletic director asked me if I'd be willing to take over the program. And, I think, for me as a coach now, looking back at a lot of younger coaches, I think the biggest thing I would tell them is to not necessarily worry that a lot of those chances are going to come by. So if you keep your head down and keep working and then do the things you need to do as far as recruiting and continuing to take the coaching education courses and working on your skill and your craft, those opportunities definitely come. And to not necessarily kind of pigeonhole yourself into one path or the other.
Finally, if people want to learn more about Piedmont College, maybe even your camps, where can they go?
They can go to our website, PiedmontLions.com, and we're on Twitter and Instagram as well. If you just search Piedmont College Lady Lions or our program there, you can find us on social media, and we're at Piedmont Lions on social media as well, Instagram and Twitter. If they want to keep up, they're more than welcome. We'd love to have them. A little bit of pressure on that second season, so we know we'll have some eyes on us. So.
Well, that shows you're a good coach and you're doing the right things by continuing to learn through the United Soccer Coaches. So honored to have you on the program. Thanks for being with us, and good luck in Cary. Maybe I'll see you there as well. I live just down the road, so thanks for being on the program.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.